Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. Now let's take the conversation to Kenya, where as they eagerly await the announcement of their next president, the announcement seems to be taking a longer wait time than expected. The election, which was conducted last week Tuesday, sees Deputy President William Ruto has taken the lead over ex-Prime Minister Raila Odinga to a 51 to 48% ratio as at Sunday evening.
The verification of results have been stopped several times due to complaints by supporters of the main candidates. The Electoral Commission has until Tuesday, that is tomorrow, to declare a winner. The winning candidate must receive 50% of the national vote plus one and at least 25% of the vote from 24 of the 47 counties in Kenya.
According to observers, they say an appeal to the Supreme Court by the losing candidate is almost certain, which means it could be many weeks before a new president takes office. We will, of course, continue to bring updates on the Kenyan elections till, of course, the fifth president of Kenya is announced. It's a very interesting thing, and analysts say the race is still too early to call, with results in from just a little more than a third of the polling centers. So there's still a lot more that needs to, of course, play out in Kenya. It's very interesting.
And it's important to mention that the voting turnout this year was it was not really high. There was more that was expected, as only 56% of 22 million voters had cast their vote an hour before voting closed on Tuesday. The electoral body has also not provided final turnout figures, but initial estimates suggest a downturn from 2017, where 78% of a registered 19 million Kenyans turned out to vote.
It's very interesting. That's actually very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Seeing the number of people who, willingly take part in the electoral process, and I believe that they also have gotten to understand how important it is to vote, and I was here. We did, electoral discussions that morning, that Tuesday morning, last week Tuesday, and I found it really, really interesting seeing that in the build up to the elections, I don't think there was a lot of, of conversations that had to do with tribe and religion and some of all of that, that we're seeing, elsewhere. These two candidates simply campaigned. They did their very best, with regards campaigning, selling themselves to the electorate and hoping that, they get the votes. And you can see that 50%, 48%, it's really tight.
It's really neck and neck. And the low voter turnout this year in comparison to the last elections, we can say some of the reasons. We saw a lot of voter apathy amongst young people, and part of it would be some of the reasons that we discussed on TV on the 9th of August, being that, there was, some of them believed that the elections had no impact in their lives and it wasn't going to change their lives for better. There were some that were afraid because of the 2017 post-election violence. Yes. So all of that was restricting a lot of people from coming out to vote. And we do hope, we've been seeing reports of Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Over the weekend, Raila Odinga went to worship in a church, and the Archbishop was talking about peace. They were both calling for peace, that whatever happens, the results of the elections should be accepted by both parties, because there's just this lingering fear of, we do not want what happened in 2017 to happen again in 2022. So it's really interesting how this is going out. And we hope that, for the sake of Kenya, not just Kenya, because like someone said, when Kenya sneezes, the whole of East Africa catches a cold, that there isn't electoral violence, that the result comes out in such a way that there might not need to be a rerun, although it's looking like there might be a call for a rerun.
And I'm hoping that they're also learning, with regards to the electoral process, and the leadership recruitment process, for the country, so that next time we're having elections, it may not take this long. They probably need to also, the IEBC needs to also, fix up one place or the other to ensure that once elections are done, once voting is done on a particular day, in 2-3 days, you should already be able to tell who the winner is. It's taken too long to count. It feels like there's a lot of it that is manual.
Exactly.
So much of a manual process, and that's what makes it so hard for Kenyan president. 3-4 days, 1 week later, they're now even talking about how close it is, and the fact that they might go to a Supreme Court, they might, have a court ruling. That might have to declare a rerun. It's a lot of things, would need to be fixed.
And you're right in mentioning, the fact that people are complaining about the duration in which it's taking to reveal who the fifth president of Kenya is also another reason why there's distrust. Because people are wondering, why is it taking so long? It's enough time for the results to be manipulated.
It's still counting.
So whilst they're talking about, I think it's something that the rest of Africa can look at. How can we digitize our counting platforms? How can we make it quick in such a way that as people are voting, the results are tallying up, we're finding out the winner in like you said, max 2-3 days, so that
Absolutely.
Kenyans can know, because it just feels like everybody's life is in stealth mode while we're paused waiting for, okay, who is this person going to be? 1 minute Raila is leading, the next minute Ruto is leading. So it's just like we don't know what's going on, and a lot is dependent, highly and largely dependent on who
Absolutely.
the president emerges.
And one person is winning depending on where they're counting.
Yeah.
And the next person might take the lead, because they're counting a different region entirely. So yes, it needs. They may not have gotten to the place where they start to use mail-in ballots, and some of the things that we've heard in the U.S. But a lot needs to be done to digitize the process, and make it easier for people to vote, and have those results sent in almost on the same day. And of course, you get to know your winner in 48 hours, maybe. And luckily, I think Nigeria has gotten to a better place with regards to the electoral process. There's now, more digitization of the process. There's a little bit more technology in the process. And so it doesn't take that long for a winner
find
to
out
be
the
found
results.
out.
I think one thing we need to learn from them, which they have done, which they can still improve on, we didn't talk about it, or when it was my slot, we didn't have a lot of time to talk about it. It's the fact that Kenyans outside Kenya were also able to vote. Maybe not all the countries, right? But in certain countries, in Uganda and a few other countries, they were allowed to vote. All they needed to do was to go to the embassy in their country, and they were able to cast their votes. I think that is something that the rest of Africa should look at, because whilst we have citizens of our country that are not based in our country, we have them that are living outside the country, but they're directly involved. The decisions of who leads the country directly impacts them one way or the other.
Absolutely.
Because they might not be here, but they're sending money to their family members, who are in some way paying tax. Some of them have family members who are working and paying tax, so they should be given a chance to make decisions.
Some actually do want to come back home someday, so they want to come back to a better Kenya. So as much as they need to learn and improve on certain parts of their process, other African countries also need to learn from them,
Absolutely.
and just continue to improve the process.